Welcome to the Sage Advice Podcast, transforming the way people think and work so their organizations can thrive. Well, hi, everyone, and welcome to our podcast. I'm Ed Kless, and with me today is Bonny Meyer. Bonny is the co-founder of Silver Oak Winery, known around the world for its iconic Cabernet. After the unexpected death of her husband, wine legend Justin Meyer, Bonny now devotes her attention to addressing the world's environmental, social, and economic challenges by financially supporting social ventures. She has been acknowledged as a pioneer of impact and regenerative investing by Forbes Magazine and others. Bonny is the author of Perfectly Paired, the love affair behind the Silver Oak Cellars. Welcome to the Sage Advice Podcast, Bonny Meyer.
Thank you very much, Ed. Good to be here.
So, first question, why did you write the book?
For decades, people have told me that I should write about the love affair between me and Justin. It was clear to everyone that knew us that we had an extraordinary relationship. And they also wanted to know the really juicy story about how he was a monk when I met him. And they wanted to know how that I somehow encouraged him to leave the monastery. I didn't want to tell that story. But one day I realized that I could talk about things I really cared about through that story. And what I cared about is values-based business, which was really characterized Silver Oak Cellars, and I believe really led to the phenomenal success of our business. I cared about describing my relationship in a way that other people could find themselves in there. So it's not a how-to book. It's like, wow, here's what it looks like. I would love to invite you to experience the same thing. I could also talk about grief because it includes my grief journey. And we all make grief journeys in our lives, whether we've lost a loved one or a job or what we thought was we were going to be healthy forever and now I have a chronic disease. There's so many ways that we experience grief. So I wanted to invite people into seeing all the ups and downs and normal path of grief. And then resilience. I wanted to be able to talk about resilience and how we all have within us those abilities to rise above.
And I mentioned in your bio the fact that you have been a pioneer of impact and regenerative investing. And I wonder what you might say to someone who's perhaps listening to this program, who's looking for an investment in their organization and is approaching someone like yourself who has this specific type of investment in mind. So if you could maybe unpack what is impact and regenerative investing in the first place, and then talk about what are the things perhaps that you're looking for in a company that you invest in because of it.
There's a continuum of impact investing from kind of impact light to serious. And for me, we like to invest in companies that truly solve a problem, whether it's an economic problem, environmental problem, or social problem. And I started doing it because I thought that social entrepreneurs were a lot more fun and interesting and creative than a normal person in business who just wants to make money. But at the end of the day, I'm passionate about this because I believe it is our only viable way forward as a planet and as people, that we all need to be contributing to the welfare of the earth and the people.
And so what would you do as specifically the mechanics of investing? Are you looking then for something specific from them, whether it's consciousness about what it is that they're doing that's assisting, or is it really just, hey, we want to make sure that you're not doing anything that's harmful?
It's actually more the former. The most important thing that I've learned about investing is who are the people I'm investing in? What is their character? And are the values, their values on a plaque on the wall, or are they really embedded in that company? And viscerally, I know that having a truly values-based business is a recipe for success. And I know that because of my experience with Silver Oak. So that's the first thing. So you've got to be serious and legitimate, and it's got to come from the heart, come from within.
Okay. And it's most important, of course, that I love this notion of making sure that the values are distributed, dispersed throughout the company. And what are some of the ways that you as an investor would check with that? Is it really just getting to know the person, or do you have to go in and talk to the 360 degrees, as they say in business, to understand, hey, do the team members, do the colleagues within this organization, do they really get it as well? Or is it just lip service at the top?
It's both. It's really getting to know the team first and foremost, but then, yes, asking some questions just casually. What's most important? What is it like to work there? And it's not just about checking off the boxes. Do you have a healthcare program? Or it's not that. It's really asking people what it's like.
Yeah. Yeah, it's very similar to what's their why, right? Which is what I
Yeah.
asked you about the why initially with regard to the book. They have to have a purpose, an intent behind what it is that they're doing.
And it's got to be fueled by passion. There's a famous story about two companies that were studied, and they both did the same thing. But the interviewers asked people, the first company, what they were doing, and they had many different answers. And both of these companies produced parts for babies' hearts that were born with imperfect hearts. The second company, everyone had the same answer: we save babies' lives. And that company succeeded, and the first one died.
Mm-hmm.
So when we're
So
all united, behind a passionate, inspirational purpose, our company will do better.
Sure, I mean it's almost trite to talk about the new economy in the days of COVID-19 and the reaction to that. But what are your thoughts with regard to impact investing in a future that includes reaction to COVID-19? Is it going to become something that's more important, or perhaps less looked at because we might be going into more of a survival mode?
I think it's more important. I think that the companies that will do well as we go forward are ones that um, treat their employees and their customers with deep respect and are generous. There's a winery that is doing really well, a small winery, because they contacted all of their restaurants who had closed, and those who were doing takeout. They said, we're going to give you wine. Just tell us what you need. We'll give you wine, and you can pay us when you can. And that winery is doing phenomenally well. And not only did they give away a lot of wine, more than ever, but they've gotten paid for it. And it's because of their generosity, where other wineries have held back and they're floundering. So I think generosity is going to be a key in going forward.
And Bonnie, we have an exit question that we ask all of our guests, and that is, who is a hero of yours and why are they a hero?
I'm going to answer this in a different way than probably most of your guests. I do not have heroes. And the people that I've learned from are primarily authors. So David Hawkins, Power versus Force, Brene Brown have various books on leadership and vulnerability. James Collins, Good to Great, love that book. Simon Sinek, Infinite Game is his latest book. Jerry Jampolsky, about forgiveness, Scott Peck, People of the Lie, Course in Miracles. So a combination of I would say spiritual writers and business writers.
And lastly, Bonnie, how can somebody contact you?
You can contact me, Bonny, Bonny, at bonnymeyer.com. and at MF Enterprises, so yeah, both of those places.
All right, outstanding. Bonny Meyer, co-founder of Silver Oak Winery. Thanks so much for being a guest on the Sage Advice podcast.
You're very welcome.
For more Sage Advice, visit and subscribe at sageadvicepodcast.com.